Many thanks for your company once again. Now, they suffer abuses ranging from physical and verbal to sexual exploitation and even starvation while serving their slave masters. These are the plight of many children between the ages of 7 and 18 who've been given away by their parents at very small tokens to mostly fishermen in order to assist them in their fishing expeditions. They are also denied education and proper medical care in most cases. As the world marks Day Against Child Labor Day, today, we bring you some chilling tales of activities of children working on the Volta Lake in Ghana. This feature is Ketsi Right to Be Free, a non-governmental organization that rescues children from all forms of slavery and child labor.
Lake Volta, located in eastern Ghana, is the world's largest man-made lake. It was formed when a dam was built to provide electricity to parts of the country. Unfortunately, Lake Volta is also where trafficked children or child laborers work in the hazardous fishing trade. Eric Piazza is the founder of the non-governmental organization Right to Be Free in Africa. He researches the child laborers and plans the rescue missions. Here in his office, he shows us where the rescue mission will take place. Eric explains that the child laborers are trafficked from parts of the Central Region, Greater Accra, the Volta region, and some of them as far as the Western region. All along the coastline, fishermen work. However, during the off-season, they migrate north to Lake Volta, and they take children with them to help them work. Lake Volta reaches depths up to 75 meters, or about 246 feet. It covers what was once part of Ghana's rainforest, so tree trunks are sometimes visible from the water's surface. Here are 3 young boys working alone without the fishermen, which is often the case. The boys, some as young as 4 years old, start working as early as 4 in the morning when it's still dark outside. They work 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and receive only 1 small meal a day, which is sometimes withheld as punishment. The canoes are quite large for these young boys to handle, and you can see how thin their bodies are. This boy, named Selassie, lost his left eye after diving under the water to untangle a fishing net, and he swam into a tree branch. This underscores the real dangers these children face every day while fishing. Sometimes the boys have to sleep outside when fishing on different islands on the lake, increasing the risk of contracting malaria, so their legs often bear scars from insect bites. This trafficked boy bears a scar from being hit on the head with a canoe oar, a common sign of the abuse these children endure. This young boy named Kofi slipped and fell on the side of the canoe. His master failed to seek medical attention, but instead offered Kofi pain medication similar to acetaminophen. According to Kofi, as he healed, his spine started bending, making it difficult to stand straight. Despite his physical challenges, Kofi had to resume fishing after a month. He can't stand upright for more than 2 minutes, and he experiences pain and numbness in his legs and feet, in addition to pain in his back. After Kofi was rescued, he was diagnosed with spinal tuberculosis. It's 4:30 in the morning, and many trafficked boys start their workday in the pre-dawn hours when it's still dark outside. Shortly after dawn, we came across a fisherman and a young boy working on the lake. Eric finds out the boy is 10 years old and his name is Kwame. He's the only boy working for the fisherman, although in some cases, a fisherman may own more than 1 canoe and have several boys working for him. Kwame frequently dives underwater since the fishing net often is caught on something. Eric puts his hand in the water and says, "It is very, very cold." The fisherman tugs gently on the fishing net to see if it's untangled. Eventually, it becomes free, and he starts pulling it up. Kwame remains underwater as he continues to free the net. On this particular dive, he stays underwater for 40 seconds. Eric, meanwhile, continues to talk to the fisherman to develop a relationship. Finally, Kwame resurfaces from the freezing water and pulls himself into the boat. He continues to shiver as he faces Eric so they can talk. Kwame tries to answer Eric's questions and watches Eric stops the fisherman when he tries to speak for Kwame. At times, Kwame finds it difficult to speak because he's shivering so much. Kwame's body is overdeveloped from the intense physical labor that any adult would find challenging. The strenuous labor creates microfractures, which weaken bones, making them more susceptible to fracture or breakage. This often painful condition impedes bone growth, so these boys won't reach their normal height even if they are rescued. Eric was successful in negotiating the release of Kojo and Fanuku. Here he reads the contract to the fisherman and explains that by releasing the boys today, he agrees to no longer traffic children. If he does, he can be prosecuted. So this truly stops child trafficking at its root cause. The fisherman is not paid any money to do this, but he will receive assistance in the form of a microcredit for new fishing equipment and/or services such as joining a cooperative program with other fishermen. Eric and the fishermen walk Kojo and Fanuku to the rescue boat. It's so good to finally see the boys smiling as they realize they are finally free. 2 years later, I came to visit Kojo at his school.
Your teacher says that you are doing very well,
Yes.
and you are ahead.
Yes.
So what is your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math?
Yes.
You like math the best?
Yes.
What is your least favorite subject?
Ewe.
Oh, you don't like learning Ewe? Do you like English?
Yes.
You speak English very well.
Yes.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a doctor.
A doctor?
Yes.
You know what you told me 2 years ago when I asked you that question? Do you remember?
Yes.
What did you say?
I want to be a footballer.
Yes, you told me you want to be a football player.
As for Kofi, who had the curved spine, he was able to have corrective surgery thanks to the doctors at the Focus Foundation. He's now recovering well and undergoing physical therapy.
We'll bring you what experts have been saying as the world marks the day against child labor today. Away from that, there is an easy calm at Adon in Amasaman after some thugs are believed to have murdered the development chief for the area, Ni Tete Saba, last Thursday dawn over what is suspected to be a feud over land. Ni Saba was part of a retinue of chiefs performing some purification rites at the Adon stool house when some thugs entered and started shooting sporadically. A visit to the stool house Monday morning revealed about 4 bullet holes on a section of the building. The room where the development chief was murdered is also stained with blood. Joy News' Maxwell Agbaba has been speaking to a brother of the deceased.
Sporadically, we understand by the chest in military hospital. One person who happens to be
apologies for that low quality video there. We'll bring you that story later. We'll take a quick break here. We'll bring you more stories right after this. Thank you for staying here. Now, communities along the coast in the country must brace themselves for occurrences of tidal waves. That's according to Professor Akwesi Adon, lecturer at the Faculty of Marine and Fish Science at the University of Ghana, Legon. He thus advises constant and regular monitoring of the weather to be able to predict some of these occurrences ahead of time in order to reduce its impact on susceptible communities. A surge in the sea on Sunday morning swept hundreds of homes along the coast. In the central region, for instance, there's currently a search underway for a drowned fisherman who was at sea at the time. Professor Adon expressed confidence in the Coastal Development Authority and relocations of certain settlements, among other measures by government in addressing the challenge.
As we move forward, the frequency is going to increase because these things are being influenced by global systems, and we can talk about climate change. So the frequency, I'm afraid, is going to increase, and we therefore need to look at ways of mitigating against the impact.
Prof, looking at solutions, to what extent can relocation solve the problem?
Relocation will be an alternative. I mean, one of the solutions to look at. But it also comes with its own, issues. You relocate them to where? And imagine there is a chief somewhere who is being relocated to another community. Will he still continue to be a chief in that community? These are some of the issues that we need to look at. I believe that we need to confront the situation and be able to manage the situation as much as possible. People need to be made aware that moving forward, these problems are going to be part of us. And what are the ways by which we can solve some of these problems, I think, is what we should be looking at. There are so many ways, Temporary relocating them is one way we can look at it. Putting in engineering measures is another way of looking at it. And then putting in natural system of solving it by planting of, trees, wind-breaking trees, and other measures are some of the things we could look at. I was very happy when the government came up with the idea of establishing a coastal authority. I think it's something we need to do. Having a coastal development authority is something we really have to do, because managing the coastal system or planning for the coastal area is different from planning for the midland areas, because the coastal areas have their own peculiar problems. The government should also encourage frequent monitoring so that we know what is happening. And once we know what is happening scientifically, we can advise or provide some solution. But a situation whereby there's a problem, quickly go there and put in ad hoc measures is not going to help us. We should have a comprehensive management system in place so that we can really, scientifically understand the issues and be able to provide solutions. That is what I think the government can help us do.
Let's get onto the phone lines now and speak to Joy News' Matilda Bemega, who has visited some coastal communities in the Greater Accra region to bring us up to speed on what the situation in those communities she's visited is so far. Hello, Matilda. Where are you now and what can you report?
So, Dennis, we are still within Accra, and then we are yet to settle to Adon, specifically Sigi, and then to some towns around Katamangu, and then to the Volta region. But as part of immediate plans, NADMO is sending relief to these communities that have been affected by the tidal waves and then the flood, as we already know. But as part of a long-term plan, which is enlarging these dreams within communities, especially those affected with flooding, they are financially handicapped. So they are one way or the other appealing for support from other bodies to come in, because as it looks now, they do not have all that it takes to address the situation. So as part of a short-term plan, they are sending relief items to communities that have been affected, Bennett.
All right, Matilda, but have any communities in Accra or the Greater Accra region been affected?
Yes, that is so communities within the Katamangu area, and then also within the Sigi, which still falls within the Greater Accra region, Bennett.
All right. Okay, thank you, Matilda. We'll touch base with you during subsequent bulletins to see if there are any updates. But the Minister for Works and Housing and the Volta Regional NADMO Coordinator have been touring affected communities in the Volta region to assess the extent of damage and offer some form of assistance to victims. Joy News' Ivy Setaji has been with the team visiting these communities and joins us on the phone with the latest. Hi, Ivy. What form of assistance have the victims received so far?
Hello?
Hello, Ivy.
Hello.
Hi. What form of assistance have the victims received so far?
For now, according to the NADMO, Voters and NADMO coordinator, Divine Boston, the relief items are on the way from the head office, that is Accra, to the...
Hello, Ivy. Well, seem to have lost Ivy on the line there. Hi, Ivy. Apologies for that. We'll bring you more updates subsequently. This is Joy News Today with me, Benes Abubede. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying on Joy News Today. We have Ivy back on the line reporting to us from the Volta region in terms of assistance the victims of the tidal waves are receiving. Hello, Ivy.
Hello.
Yes, we lost you on the line though. You were speaking on the assistance that these victims have received so far.
Yes, so as I was saying earlier, the NADMO boss of the region earlier on said that there is assistance coming from the head office. So in about 30 minutes time, according to him, some relief items will be shared among the affected residents in the area. But so far, the Western House Minister is still continuing his tour in the affected communities in the Keta South. He's currently at the Keta South district, and he will move to Keta municipality, where some boats were also destroyed yesterday.
All right, Ivy, we know that some displaced residents had to stay in some schools. That was a form of temporary measure. What can you report now as regards displaced residents and where they will be staying for the time being?
Well, then the situation is still the same. Affected residents would have to continue staying in this classrooms or this schools. That is the Blakuso Catholic School and also Kobe Business School, until a solution is found to the problem. So for now, schools in these two communities are closed down for the meantime until a solution is found to the problem. So those residents who still have their houses safe, as they are in their houses, also accommodating some few people who couldn't get accommodation at the schools in those communities.
Finally, before you go, Ivy, experts have warned we could be seeing much worse situation. What can you report in terms of the floods that were created by the tidal waves? Are the waters receding?
Yes, and now the situation is getting worse. Since yesterday, last night, we understand the same thing occurred last night. So most residents had to come out, especially those who were not able to sleep in the classrooms. Those who were able to sleep in their homes had to come out and stay outside throughout the night. This morning when we got here, the situation is actually worse. It's also raining here, and so some are saying because of the rain, but the situation is actually getting worse here.
Thank you very much, Ivy. Hopefully the relief items would reach the displaced residents. We'll touch base with her again during subsequent bulletins. But there's an easy calm at Adon in Amasaman after some thugs are believed to have murdered the development chief for the area, Ni Tete Saba, last Thursday dawn over what is suspected to be a feud over land. Ni Saba was part of a retinue of chiefs performing some purification rites at the Adon stool house when some thugs entered and started shooting sporadically. A visit to the schoolhouse Monday morning revealed about 4 bullet holes on a section of the building. The room where the development chief was murdered is also stained with blood. My colleague Maxwell Agbaba is currently there, and we have raised him on the phone lines now. Hello, Maxwell. Now, you've been speaking to a brother of the deceased. What has he been telling you?
Well, Dennis, we just left the community not long ago. Having interactions with the brother of the deceased, and he has been narrated to me exactly what happened. He says that, on the night of the event, it was actually sometime around 12 a.m. To 1 a.m. That was when a rescue of chiefs were carrying out the purification, rites. That was when some cars entered from one of the entrances to the schoolhouse, the Adon schoolhouse, and then they started, shooting, in different, directions. A lot of the women here in this community, are still in a state of shock and fear because of the impunity with which, the staff, carried out the act. We gather from some of the women that they heard the gunshots, throughout the night. Before later in the morning, they discovered the lifeless body of the chief. The body, we are told by eyewitnesses, and I've actually seen, pictures of the body. It has, machete, both machete and gunshot wounds. And we are told that the shooting started from the Adon schoolhouse, and then they chased the local chief, that's the development chief for the area, to another room. So he was actually fleeing the situation, and then ended up in another room. That was where he was, murdered. And then the perpetrators actually inflicted some machete wounds on his head, and then also shot him in his chest as well.
Maxwell, what have the police been saying? Any arrests?
Well, we've not, the police have not spoken to us. They will not go on record on the issue, and we wanted to talk to them off record also, but they wouldn't speak to us except to tell us that they are still going ahead with their investigation. But when we were leaving the community, we saw 4 police patrol vehicles moving into the community. At the time that we were there also speaking to the brother of the deceased, we saw some police officers, armed police officers also, at the schoolhouse trying to gather some evidence that they can use, to continue the investigation then.
Well, thank you, Maxwell Agbaba, for those updates. Joy News will be following the story keenly. I would furnish you with details as and when they are available. Now, academic activities at the Ghana School of Surveying and Mapping have bounced back after the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources ordered the indefinite closure of the school some weeks ago. A visit to the school Monday morning reviewed preparations for the commencement of classes after the long recess. Joy News' Maxwell Agbaba was at the school this morning and reports the students are expressing mixed feelings about the reopening.
The students here in this school were actually protesting against the development of this land. They say that the land will be used for the construction of a shopping. And they were kicking against that, and that triggered the demonstration that happened on this land where they destroyed some corrugated roofing sheets that were used to fence this parcel of land. Today, this land, we can see some development ongoing. The place has been cleared, telling you that it's all is set for construction to begin. We are told that will be used for an office complex, but these students think that will be used for the construction of a mall, and that was what triggered the long break here on this compound. I have some of the students here with me. Can you just come close up? After the long break, now you are back here in school. What's the feeling like for you?
Oh, we are feeling excited, to be back to school, to the back. Most of all, our house are able to continue. It's an exciting feeling.
There are some of your friends are saying that break, this unplanned, long recess actually disrupted your schedule plan or your learning schedule. How true is that?
Oh yeah, that's very true, because before the semester begins, we have our plan, our timetable. That it's really distracted, but after all, it's all for good. So we are excited. We are okay.
I was a little depressed. I was home, and if you take book to read, you can't even read. And then we'll be writing the exams probably next week. And then but it's kind of cool. Read further. You read, you get something. Yeah.
So during that, what were you doing with your life?
Whoa. At home, I couldn't do anything, like nothing. It was like my dreams are being shattered. They are closing down school. And I was like, wow. So me becoming an engineer, that dream is shutting down. So what am I going to do? But now I think I'm cool because the school is being reopened. I'm okay now.
Yeah, I'm happy though that place being redeemed. But one thing that bothers me now is that they've destroyed most of our monuments, the controls that we run survey practicals on. Some of them have been destroyed. And also we've started practicals, and then those things are going to affect us because we don't have much monument to run on, you know. And also pressure is going to be exerted on us. Maybe probably next week we're going to start our exams. We started mid-sem, we're not yet done with that, and also we have exams at, so there's going to be pressure. Yeah.
Now, the basic education certificate examinations ended successfully last Friday for the 468,000 candidates around the country, with candidates expressing mixed feelings about their performance. But for those with special needs who are often not talked about, little or nothing has been said about them since the start and completion of the exam. Students of the Akropong School for the Blind, who despite their challenges have to compete with their sighted colleagues, are one of such candidates with special needs. Justice Bedu, in the following report, followed some of the visually impaired candidates writing maths at their center, Okwapaman School in the Eastern region, to find out how they answer exam questions they can't see.
These children are about to embark on one of the most important journeys in their lives. They are visually impaired students from the Akropong School for the Blind going to write their BCE. Amongst them, 17-year-old Emanuela Osabute, who went blind aged 3.
People like me with special needs are most of the times underestimated because of their disability. Most people think they are worthless, they can't do anything.
And Ebenezer Ama, who has been studying at the school for the last 8 years.
I want to work at the court, and I would like to be a lawyer. So I'll try much as possible, you know, and do a lot of reading during the schooling time so that I can achieve that aim. For lawyers, I learned they read a lot.
It's 1 o'clock, start work.
Writing the BEC could be one very, very difficult job. These children, some as young as 13, would have to write 10 different papers in 5 continuous days. As ridiculous as that may sound, that does very little in discouraging these young people from giving their best shot in this exam. Blind children use a code-empowered device called the Braille. It's a 6-dot device which is used by the fingers to decode shapes, rough edges, and smooth edges. The children are taught to use their fingers to translate the feelings from the Braille into the brain. They then are able to know the questions and answer them through the same means. Many children with special needs face enormous challenges. For some, access to education itself is a challenge. There are only a few special schools with trained teachers to offer the type of lessons they need in Ghana. Some don't even have support from their families at all. The Akropong School is one of the few of its kind in the country that serves children with special needs. And so the children who are here seem to be the lucky ones. How does it feel like? Opong Lati teaches at the School for the Blind and has been accompanying visually impaired children to write the BEC for the last 13 years.
The teaching of blind people is about 4 times harder than teaching in the regular school. Also, unlike their seeing counterpart, they could pick who could pick any book and read. you, the teacher, becomes almost the encyclopedia for the children. So you prepare adequately, look for a lot of materials. And depending on the subject you are teaching, sometimes you have to send real objects or their replica to the classroom, because in the special education we do what we call hand-to-hand teaching. So for example, if you want to teach a child about fractions, sometimes it will be difficult to just say 1/3 plus 1/4. So you get an orange. You show the orange, the full orange. Then you demonstrate, you cut it into two. They hold it. This is half, this is the other half. When you put it together, it becomes what? One.
Last year, Ghana launched an inclusive education policy which seeks to help disabled children receive equal levels of education with their mates in mainstream schools. But implementation of that policy is yet to trickle down. The pupils of Ekropong show the light that could be at the end of the tunnel. That all children could be equal after all. If only they could get the needed help, so they too could rub shoulders with their age mates anywhere. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Ekropong.
You're watching Joy News today with me, Bernice Abu Bedo.